Welcome back to the farm, everybody. It is a beautiful Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024. So what am I working on today? Well, I've got to take a break from the assembly of that drum mower, and I got to get my irrigation pump put together and running. So that's what we're doing today, is getting a little bit of that going. Yeah. Plus we need to clean the shop. Yeah. Ah. So what am I doing here with this little white threaded plug? I'm going to put it in here and replace it temporarily. We had a piece of pipe in there, and then if you recall, there was a big filter assembly hanging on it, and I eliminated the filter. And yeah, we're going to just plug this temporarily. So I'm only going to twist this in good and snug by hand. But why I'm plugging that is because none of the rest of this side is hooked up, and I haven't decided quite exactly what I'm going to do. But I do need to get the pump running so I can get some water out there, some irrigation water out onto the pasture grass. So yeah, we've got that screwed in there fairly snugly, hand tight. If it dribbles a little bit, I'm not going to be worried about it too much. And next up is to get all of the old Teflon tape off of this end and prep this end to get it ready to go into the irrigation pump. Now, a lot of you were waiting to hear on what was going to happen with the pumpkin patch and that sort of thing. Well, the insurance guy showed up today and took a look at things, took some photos, etc., so forth, so on, and we will see. He's got to get with the underwriters, and then that'll tell us if we can or can't have pumpkin patch and corn maze. Yeah. So let me grab my Teflon tape, and we'll start wrapping that around there, and we'll show you how that's done too. Because almost everybody, including myself on occasion, gets it wrong. Now, the biggest problem I see a lot of times with people applying Teflon tape is they wrap the tape the wrong way around the threads. There is a right and a wrong way to do it. And I always put the pipe or the threaded part that I'm wanting to put the tape on in my left hand, or in this case I happen to have it in a vise. And you always wrap from the bottom up over the top like I'm doing here. That way when you thread this pipe nipple into the fitting that it goes into, it won't unwind to the Teflon tape and wad it up into a big mess. So that's ready to go. Hey, why did the Easter egg avoid Easter Sunday's Easter egg hunts? Any ideas? It was a little chicken. I started doing some work on this thing. We've got the plug assembled into that T-fitting, and that's all hooked into the pump itself now. So now all we need to do is connect up all these pipes up here at the top and put in the new bolts down here in the feet, hold the pump in place. So we're going to do that next, is get those holes drilled out so we can put the new 7/16 bolts in there. Now the reason why I'm drilling out those holes, they fit fine for a 3/8 carriage bolt, but the little square head underneath the rounded head of a carriage bolt for a 3/8 would barely catch the feet and keep them from turning. So I've went to a bigger 7/16 bolt, which fits in there nice and snug. Now I just have to enlarge those holes a little bit for the bolts to go on through, so I can get the nuts on, anchor it down, and we're done. Let's drill these out. Get the holes drilled. Then we'll put the pump back in place, bolt it down, and we're good to rock and roll. Yeah. And I got the other side put in. So put this one in here. Angle the pump back so it's square. Lock washer and nut. And we go. There we go. Up under here. Sorry about the pause there. I was about ready to grab you. I just had a duck land about 8 feet away from me. Okay. We'll get a wrench on that. We'll tighten it up. Okay. We get this electrical whip here hooked in here. Back it up, maybe it'll find where it's supposed to thread in at. There we go. Yeah, it's going to be difficult today. It's about like everything else in the world some days. You'd have better luck finding a Republican voter in a cemetery. Okay, I got the watertight fitting back into the weatherproof box with the liquid tight conduit right there, and now it's a matter of sliding the conduit back up that wire and hooking that up to get that wire out down here so I can hook the pump motor up. I wasn't using this T with that pressure on and off switch fitting on the top of it, so I decided to eliminate it and opted for a 1.5 to 4 inch long PVC pipe nipple to put in there between the union that I've now added and the T that runs down to the pump. So that eliminates that, and I didn't really need it. Now I've got 2 unions in there, so if I can take this apart again, I can. I just got off the phone with my local polypipe supplier. Ran into an old friend of mine today that I've met years ago during my kids' high school rodeo days. And yeah, got to chatting with her a little bit and got some pricing on some polypipe. So we may end up leaving this 1.5 inch piece of PVC here, and at the end of it we may put an adapter on there and run 1.5 inch polypipe all the way across over towards the corner of the garage there. When I do that, I'll take out this plug and we'll add a ball valve in here and another piece of this threaded PVC heavy Schedule 80 pipe, I believe it is, to make up the difference or whatever. And the reason why I'm thinking about running the 1.5 inch pipe here at the pump and in the poly pipe over towards the garage is I was going to carry it on to the end of the barn and use that where it dead ends down there by the barn as the attachment point for hoses for some sort of irrigation system for that south pond or south field there that we can double up and use as a parking area. So that ground is going to need to be probably sprinkled just to keep it nice and flat and smooth for people to walk on when they park out there, if that ever happens again. Because I can't get these little liquid tight fittings apart, I've had to pull the flexible conduit clean off of the wiring here that comes from the on and off switch down here to this box. So I've got to run uptown right quick and see if I can pick up any more of these little 1/2 inch liquid tight couplings. I just went uptown, put some gas in my little pedal jumper here. Now I see the gas prices are doing their annual spring climb. Yeah, they're going up again. So here's a few tips on how to save some gas. 1, check your tire pressure. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. Check your alignment. Make sure your front end is going in the direction you want it to so it isn't fighting the rest of the vehicle. If you can, reduce your speeds a little bit. And 4, if you can at all, plan your route accordingly so that you can avoid the most starts and stops possible, like city driving. Yeah, that's the worst on it. And 5th, unload your vehicle of extra weight. I've got a toolbox behind the cab here in my little pickup, and I've just about emptied the thing clear out because if I need to throw some tools in it and go somewhere, I can. So, the last thing, the 6th thing you need to do to help reduce your fuel bill every month, don't vote Democrat this year. Yeah. And speaking of Democrats, if you happen to see anybody asking for money or vote for me stuff on my channel, Believe me, it is not me. I still think we ought to vote them all out and start all over again. That's just something Google puts on there just because they're getting paid to. Yeah. Got all the wiring finally put back together. I got the cover on the box. The wiring is pretty simple, just a ground and 2 hots. And I got the liquid tight conduit back on. That fitting up there on the bottom of that box, I don't know if you can see it real well or not. Yeah, that one right there. That's the one that was down here on this box. And I couldn't get it off the hose, so I pulled well, I call it a hose, pulled that liquid tight conduit clear off all the wiring, turned it around the other way, and shoved the fitting that was here on up there and screwed it all together, because I got a new fitting for down here, and I can sit here on the ground and argue with that thing and put it together a lot easier than standing out there where there's nothing to stand on to put that one in. Yeah. So right now there's only 2 things left to do, or 2, whichever way it doesn't offend the British people, is get the intake pipe and mount it, and then grab a garden hose and drag over here and fill the thing full of water out of the domestic well and get it primed and get it running. Yeah, so that's what's next. Okay, the water is on at that hydrant way over in the corner there by the Cub Cadet. You can kind of sitting there with the hood up. I got it out today. And I've got a garden hose run over here to the pump house. And through the miracle of an odd fitting, I got it hooked on here to a male Y valve. And we're going to crack this open. A little bit of spurt. And this one. We'll see what happens. Got a bunch of air in that garden hose that we need to get rid of too. I'd say we have a wee bit of a problem, so I need to get in there and tighten that up right quick. Well, I can hear it running through the system, but I don't see any more leaks other than something's leaking over here somewhere. Yeah, or something's not tight right there. I'll have to chase that here in a minute. I found the source of the drip. It's coming out of that temporary plug I put in there. I tightened it up a bit more, so it should stop, and if not, well, it won't be too long before we run a valve here and a piece of pipe over to there and hook all this up. Because all of this manifold assembly right here coming up out of the pump is most likely full of air, and a good chunk of the intake pump, well, at least down to water level anyway, could be kind of full. We're going to crack open these valves one at a time, let the air run through them, and see if we can't bleed some of that air out of the system here. Oh yeah. A lot of air in that system. Okay, power's onto the pump. Let's go see what happens. So now we will flip this up and turn on the pump. Ooh. Doesn't sound like there's much in there right at the minute. Well, no, looky there. I don't know if you can see it. The sprinklers are coming on. And the pump's sounding better, so, yep, we got water running through the system now. Okay, so we'll turn that off now so we don't need any more water coming from the well to prime the system. Nothing appears to be leaking anymore, so we're going to button that up and call it a win. It's kind of hard to see it, I'm sure, but there's a sprinkler running right there in front of you. And that is the entire reason why I got that pump running. I'm not going to do it today, but I'll probably end up running a Y splitter for garden hoses and have 2 hoses running off of that one line right there and get 2 sprinklers running. But I'm going to do that tomorrow. Yeah, it's starting to get dark. It's starting to get cold. The wind's starting to pick up. I may shut that off for the night and let it sit. It's supposed to freeze again tonight, so I'm not looking forward to that. But it is what it is. Welcome to southern Idaho and the weather here. Anyway, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to all the new subscribers that are hanging in there and to the old ones alike. I do appreciate it. We've gained a couple in the last month or so, so we'll just keep going the way we're going. And if you got any comments or suggestions on what you'd like to see or do, let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye for now.